Okay, so I'm gonna try this audio recording to talk about really quick the Conoces, the real Taco Mexicano article, and what you're doing with it. So first, I linked to you guys. I'll also put it in maybe like Google Classroom, and then maybe I'll email it to you guys. This edited version where I showed better the tacos. So there's tacos de guisados, there's tacos dorados, there's something that's just about rellenos, which you should check the Quizlet vocab honestly, which I'll also put in Google Classroom and email to you guys if you don't remember it, because I want to make sure we know this word rellenos, which is not part of a taco, but is one of the things on your graphic organizer. We have los burritos, which I told you to go ahead and include, and that's going to start talking about the Tex-Mex on the far right. Um, then on the second to last page, we have taco al pastor, and then down here it describes it better. And then el burrito y la fajita is also included in la flauta, and that's in the Tex-Mex category. Which, if we're honestly, if we had the time to actually read this correctly, like way up here, it talks about how that is part of the Tex-Mex, and then down here it describes what's in it. But you can still put all of that information in like los ingredientes típicos. I think that that's fine to still put in here, or maybe you could just put it over here. That's why it's better to just watch this video. So los nombres de los tacos diferentes, we kind of have them now. So I'll just give you one example, right? I don't want to waste your time. But tacos de guisados, right? Tacos de guisados. Some other ones, mostly like these. I don't know if you guys noticed the tacos de ojo, like we talked about in class. Tacos de ojo. So it doesn't have to just be ones that give you the ingredients in the inside. It can also be ones that they just mention, right? Then los ingredientes típicos, we would actually have to read. This is really good practice for the test tomorrow. So no es fácil saber cuál pedir. Podemos hablar de los tacos de guisados rellenos con, definitely check that Quizlet vocab, huevos duros. So we put huevos. You should really look up words you don't know. Like huevos duros should be like hard boiled, I would assume, because it's like hard eggs. Nopales, look up what nopales are. It's a cactus. So you're just really, literally just gonna list a bunch of stuff. The reason I said you're not writing much is I guess what I'm really saying is you're not gonna need to read a bunch of stuff in here because I've made this smaller for you. Normally, this would be like a day long or 2 day long task that we would go through, but I really want to point out some of the stuff you'd be looking more at on the reading test tomorrow. Arroz, los dos canastas. If you guys want, really, honestly, my best recommendation would be to probably put stuff in, actually, probably in English in here, or do something like huevos duros, hard boiled eggs. Because just like your reading test, you're actually gonna be writing in English. So, in all honesty, I would be putting this in like Spanish or in English. Um, I'll probably try to include that in some of my information. The taco names you'd keep in Spanish though. Palabras que describe la preparación. So like relleno, which again I'm not going to give you that word right now. Hopefully you wrote it below or wrote it on the side when I was talking about it in class. Relleno. Um, I'm trying to think if there's like really a ton of other ones. Destacan, camarón, faltar que estacas que causen. I'm actually kind of curious more, as someone who's read this like twice now, what you guys will all find for words that describe the preparation of the tacos. We might not have a ton in there, and that's totally fine. And then, como se come, I'm gonna be honest, I can't really find a whole lot about como se come in here, like at all. The biggest thing I would say is about here, right? It should be. Formas de comer un taco. So I'm going to go ahead and re-edit this and add that. Formas de comer un taco hay muchas y estilos en cada esquina. Por una vez que ya es nuestro, se toma la tortilla. Se toma, take la tortilla. Y lo que lleva dentro, inside, like el relleno, con ambas manos, both hands, y se acomoda en una sola y se lo aprieta suavemente. More than likely, we'll just go through this tomorrow. We'll talk about like what that really meant, or I might just skip it entirely because again, your reading test isn't really much like this part. And then los tacos Tex-Mex. So once you've kind of gone through tacos guisados, tacos dorados, it's filling rellenos, right? Los ingredientes típicos, and then un poquito del Tex-Mex. We'll start here, and then really the full last part is Tex-Mex more. So we know burritos. That's something we'd put here. Burritos, right? Burritos are a part of Tex-Mex. They're not as common actually in Latin America. It even says, es una mezcla mix de ingredientes y preparaciones típicas de México y la zona sur de Estados Unidos. So it does have some Mexican influence. That's why it's Tex-Mex, duh. Taco Bell, un dicho lugares. Yeah, I think really here's the best part. So, durante la Revolución Mexicana, Juan Méndez tenía un puesto de comida en Ciudad Juárez. Tuve la idea de hacer tortillas de harina, porque no son comunes en Latinoamérica nada. Tortillas de maíz o tortillas de elote son más comunes. Las enrollaba dentro de manteles para mantenerlas calientes. Enrollaba, which you should look up honestly online. Eran tantos los pedidos comprar un burro para transportar la comida. Al poco tiempo comenzaron a llegar mexicanos estadounidenses de todas partes preguntando por la comida del burrito. So we see that burro, if you look it up as donkey, burrito actually comes from that because they used to come by donkeys. El burrito o flauta es un plato original del estado de Chihuahua y consiste en una tortilla grande de harina. So, tortillas grandes. They're diferentes porque tienen tortillas grandes. Tortillas grandes. De harina. Tortillas grandes de harina. So, this part I would say is English or Spanish. So, has large flour tortillas. Again, it's probably better to do in English because that's really what your test is more like. Que envuelve diversos tipos de harina como carne, frijoles, queso, verduras, and I put like meat, frijoles, beans, cheese, vegetables, right? That's the stuff I'd put more on the right side. You'll probably notice it might be similar to other things, but specifically they're talking about how it is more Tex-Mex. And then fajitas, same thing, right? Don't forget it does continue on to the next page. So you will have similar things between these. The biggest thing that we'll talk about tomorrow is tortillas de harina and tortillas de maíz is probably the biggest difference with Tex-Mex, I would say. And then those tipos de verduras, the types of vegetables, are usually pretty different, but they don't really even talk about that. So don't labor over this. I really want you guys to just practice noticing ingredients and noticing like more of this stuff. We can talk about the how they eat it part because I didn't bring it up in class. Cool? Cool.